Hello. I'm trying to get this set up here. I'm at my music school here. I'm going to talk about some jazz. No one's joining me yet. This is a very, very impromptu live chat, so it's going to be on chords today. It's a very basic piano theory lesson. If you're watching this on the live broadcast or the replay broadcast, this is a piano lesson for guitar players. Essentially, I'm going to start this new series on Patreon and on YouTube for some of the videos, but it's going to basically teach, and I'm going to reiterate this as others will be joining in. This will be a basic music kind of a theory lesson here, but the piano is kind of the best way to demonstrate these concepts. So I won't make this terribly long. I always say that, but then I go a full hour. So, type in the chat. I'm not actually, I'm on my phone today, so I'm going to see if I can check out this as well. Meaning monitor the chat to see if there's any comments. However, again, if you're just tuning in, this is a very special kind of I guess they call it a flash live stream, I'll say. I've got my piano here, my keyboard. I'm going to go over some really important basic concepts for piano. And of course, it could be played for popular or jazz or whatever style. But if you are a guitar player, this will be the series of my piano lessons will be intended for guitar players. So it's going to be really important and great. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. And this, you can check it out on the replay or live. Let's see, I'm going to just double check one thing here. We're going to do some jazz piano, but not today. What I want to start with today is the very, very foundation, the basics, chord construction, okay? So let's talk about this. You have a C major scale, all the white keys on the piano from C to C. Okay? This is C, and this is C. There's 12 different notes, by the way. I usually ask this to my students. How many different notes are there? They usually say 6 or 7, but there's actually 12 different notes before it repeats. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it repeats. So there's 12 different notes in music, okay? Now, that's called a chromatic scale, by the way. If you were to actually do this, that's the chromatic scale. All 12 notes. However, what we are concerned about right now is the major scale. So starting on C to C is very easy. You just play all the white keys on the piano. And then there's a formula. Whole step, whole step. Okay, just like the 2 black keys, 2 whole steps. And then half step, and then 3 whole steps. Again, just like the black keys. And then half step. So the formula for major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, okay? But now what that's the major scale, and all this stuff is on Patreon, my theory lessons, where I go through it in a lot more detail. But today, again, we're talking about chords on the piano, how to construct chords. But this is important on many levels. This is important so that you learn your formulas, okay? You have major, C, E, G, 1, 3, 5, 2 whole steps, 1 and 1/2. Okay, I'll do that again. 2 whole steps, and then from here to here, 3 to 5, 1 1/2. And then when we label these, we say 1, 3, 5. And by the way, the scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Octave. So the chord is 1, 3, 5. Okay? 1, 3, 5. 2 whole steps, 1.5. That's 1, 3, 5. For a major triad, 1, 3, 5. Some of my students, my beginner students, they go, oh, well then this is D major. That's not true, because you broke the formula. Now it's 1.5 and 2. So this is D major. Okay, it has an F sharp. So you really have to count the whole steps and the half steps. Again, I'm going to use C major as a demonstration to walk us through these formulas. Okay. So now to make it minor, you simply flat the third. So it's 1 flat 3 5. So here's major 1 3 5. It's right out of the scale. 1 2 3 4 5. To minor it, we flat the 3. Okay, major, flat the 3, minor. That's 1 flat 3 5. Now to diminish it, we flat the 5th. So it's 1 flat 3 flat 5. And right now I'm not even concerned with letter names. I'm just talking about the formula. Major, minor, diminish. Okay, 1, the root, flat 3, flat 5. Major. Minor, diminish. Now there's one other triad that's very important. Let's go back to major, and it's the augmented. That means to raise your 5th, sharp your 5. Okay, those are the 4 important triads to learn. These are called tertian triads. They're stacked thirds, like this, every other note. Even if it's a minor third, flat 3 that is. 1 flat 3 5, diminish. Major, augmented. And I'll be demonstrating this on the guitar as well, because this is important to be able to do this on the guitar. But this is just an introductory lesson, especially for all my students who are non-piano players. So if you're not a piano player, start here with this lesson. Major, minor, diminish, major, augmented, sharp the 5. Back to major. Okay, these are tertian triads. Yes, I'm reiterating this quite a bit. That's okay. Okay, now I want to show you some fun chords, 2 of them. These are non-tertian triads. We got a sus2 chord, meaning suspended. We take our third and replace the third with the 2 of the scale from the major scale. Like that. 1, 2, 5. So again, if we label the scale degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 1, 3, 5, 1 flat 3, 5, diminish is 1 flat 3, flat 5, back to major. Augmented is 1, 3, sharp 5. It's very important that you think in terms of numbers. Here's 1, 3, 5. Now I'm going to do a suspended 2 chord. Sus2. It would be called C sus2 from the root of C. Okay? It's neither major nor minor because there's no third. The third is what determines the quality. And that doesn't mean how good or bad the chord is. It determines the quality of being major or minor. Okay, the third. Now that's sus2. We'll put the sustain pedal on for fun. Because on the melody can be a third. It could be a minor third. The sus2, it doesn't tell you whether it's major or minor. It's a beautiful, ambiguous chord. And like the suspended 2, there's also a sus4. 1, 4, 5 of the degrees of the scale. And again, it does not tell us whether it's major or minor. The melody will determine that. You can even do it in the bass. You could determine the major or minor. It's pretty cool. These sus chords are great for songwriting if you want to get out of the traditional major-minor chord style songwriting. Add some color to your songwriting by putting some sus chords in. Makes it a little bit more ambiguous. And again, major, minor, diminish, major, augmented. Is all off the root of C, and I'll be having a special guitar lesson going through this as well. It's very important. Actually, I already have a couple on YouTube, but I'll relate it again to this lesson, to the piano. Major, sus2, sus4, major, minor. I'm quizzing you, diminish. So get your keyboard out, major. Is all off the root of C. Augmented. Okay. Those are your triads. We have the tertian triads, meaning thirds, stacked thirds, and non-tertian, in this case, that's a whole step, second. And then this, that's a fourth degree. Here's a fourth degree and a whole step. Those are non-tertian. Tertian means thirds, stacked thirds. That's tertian. Those are tertian chords. Stacked thirds, okay? Major, minor, diminish, major, sus4, sus2, major, augmented. Am I going too fast for you? This is our practicing now, okay? Let's do another one. How about off of F? This is tricky. F major. 2 whole steps, 1.5. It's all the white keys on, so that's not too hard, right? F major, F minor. What do? We flat the third. F diminish, flat the fifth, along with that flat third. Back to the major, and let's augment it. Sharp the 5 from the major. Okay? Like the Beatles, fixed in a hole. Beautiful augmented chord. Get used to these flavors so that your ear gets trained to hear these colors, these chords, different qualities. Major, now let's make it sus2. Okay, hopefully you got that. Let's make it sus4. Sus2. Minor. And that's kind of a cool little songwriting thing, is to mix and match these. Sus2. Sus4. Sus2. Minor. Sus2, sus4, and major. Okay, pretty fun, mixing and matching. Let's do another one here. A major. Okay, now that's A minor. We'll do that in a second, but 2, 1.5. Always know your formulas. And also what I recommend is just learning your major scales, or at least the first 5 notes. Those are always important, especially for triads. So it's a good practice when you do the first 5 notes. On the major scale, here's A major. Now let's make it minor. And now let's make it diminish. Okay, back to A major. Let's make it augmented. We sharp the 5th. And if we were to really spell this out, if you're in music school, believe it or not, you would call that an E sharp. I know it looks like an F. And it sounds like an F, but you're supposed to call it E sharp. So don't be surprised on sheet music if you see an E sharp on an A augmented. And there's some other little theory things about the augmented, that you have inversions of itself, 2 other ones, okay? It just repeats itself. So this is A augmented, but it can also be called C sharp augmented. It can also be called F augmented. They're the same chord. That's the only triad that you can invert, and it's the same chord, same note, same distance from one to the next, the augmented, because it's completely built on 2 whole steps, 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 and that's a beautiful quality. Don't get confused with the diminished. We'll talk about that later with the diminished 7. This lesson here today is just on triads, and that includes tertian and non-tertian, the sus chords, just 3 notes to the chord, okay? That was on A. Let's do that again. A, this is just practice. A major, A minor, A diminished, A major, A augmented. And yes, we should learn to spell these as well, like I was just talking about. A, C sharp, E sharp. And again, that's a sharp 5, so you don't want to call it F. You want to be technical about it and say E sharp. because E is a fifth of A, B, C sharp, D, E sharp. Okay. Most people will think you're crazy if you said E sharp, because they say, no, that's just F. But again, we're following the old theory rules. All right, minor it, diminish it. You got to be quick at this. Major, augment it, major, sus2, sus4, major. How you doing? Make sure you're sitting at your keyboard doing this with me. Minor, diminish, sus2, sus4, augmented. So you got to be able to go in any order and get fast at this, all off the root of A. Let's do one more for today's lesson. Let's start on the black key, B flat. And again, this is just very important that you go like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. That you get the first 5 notes of the scale. Then you go 1, 3, 5, major. Let's make it minor. Get into this routine. Diminish it. Back to the major. Augmented. That's B flat, D, F sharp. Okay? Sharp 5. Back to major. Sus2. Sus4. Major. Minor. Diminish. By the way, this is F flat, B flat, D flat, F flat. I know you're saying, hey, that's an E. But because F is a fifth of B flat, it's supposed to be called F flat. Is that crazy? Music theory. And B flat major. Let's augment it. I'll slow down a bit. Major. Minor. Sus2. Sus4. Major. Augmented. You getting it? Getting these chords, these triads? We want to do this on all 12 keys. Again, to reiterate, if you didn't see the beginning of the lesson, there are 12 different notes in music that we're dealing with in this Western system, so don't make it harder than it needs to be. Just tackle all 12 keys. It's actually easier on the guitar, which again, I'm going to show all this stuff also on the guitar. It's a very basic, yet extremely important music theory, and it's tough to know on the piano and the guitar, but it's so easy to visualize it on the piano that I want you to do this with me. All my Patreon members, I'm encouraging you to get a keyboard, a small keyboard, or something, a piano, or use your iPad, or whatever. Just use it and learn to do this. G major, G minor, G diminished, G major, G sus2, G sus4. What else is there? G augmented. Get used to doing this, okay, on any note. A flat major. I know I said that was the last one earlier, but we can go through all 12 keys. I'm big on 12 keys. Very important. Don't skimp out and don't ignore certain keys. Don't think they're hard. Tackle them all. A flat major, A flat minor. And yes, this would be called a C flat, believe it or not. Again, that's a spelling rules. Because A flat is A flat, C, E flat. That's A flat major, but to make it minor, you flat the 3. So that's got to be called C flat. I know it looks like a B and it sounds like a B, but it's C flat if we're calling it A flat minor. That's being strict with theory again. A flat major, let's augment this. And that's an E natural. Okay. A flat major, A flat minor, A flat dim. Okay. Oh, you're not going to like the spelling of this one. This is called an E double flat. Okay. I know you're saying it's just a D. But this is E flat. Now it's a double flat because we're flatting the 5th. Okay, again, I'm sorry. I didn't invent these rules, but I'm just kind of, telling you what they are. Back to the major, sus2. Okay? Just get used to doing these. Major, sus4. Sounds like a nice pop song. And then minor. Remember, the sus chords are neither major nor minor. But we can determine that by the voice. Here's major. Minor. Flat your 3. But a sus chord? Neither. So you could be singing the 3rd. Or minor. See, it's kind of a cool chord. And we'll talk about added chords, we'll talk about sixth chords and seventh chords in the next installment. Today is all about tertian triads. Now you know that term, meaning thirds. You just go every other note essentially. And then non-tertian, which are the sus chords. sus2, sus4. We want to do that in all 12 keys. And that's your assignment, augmenting. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.